comes. Ooh, he's kind of scary. I'll move over a little bit to give him some space because he might need it.
He needs some space, Clicker.
He needs space.
Hey, everybody.
Scoot in this way some more if you can.
Get close and personal.
Get close and personal.
Well, this whole thing started when she wanted me to show a couple of hand tools for keeping on hand in case she didn't have any power. Some of the most rudimentary type tools that you want to start off with. I think it's the first and probably first and foremost.
There we go.
I'm supposed to be looking up here, huh?
Yeah, you're supposed to be looking
Right
up there.
there?
I'm just
Okay.
trying to get you more centered.
Anyway, I think the first thing that I'd be looking for is some way to cut wood when it comes to tools. And this is a little hand axe. It all depends on if you're wanting to be a little more mobile or something you could stick in a pack. Obviously, the more weight that you have to a tool, the more effective it is in your swinging. I really like this full-size axe. This is a Fisker's. If you ever break this axe, you could take it back, and Fisker's will replace it.
This long handle.
I found this out in the woods when I was cutting firewood one time. And it's the best axe I've ever owned.
And that guy was probably like, dang.
Yeah, he's probably, what did I do with that thing? But the secret to this guy is see how this is beveled out? This is beveled out. When you go ahead and strike the wood, it actually helps to push it apart. So it kind of assists you a little bit. Probably the tool you really wanted me to show him was
I think it's cool.
I'll show him the brazen bit, but this is not, take this out of the list of the most important things.
Essentials.
Yeah. But, these are pretty handy to have. Some of you old timers know what this is called. And this is the type of bit that goes in there. Hand driller is actually most technically, if you look up brace on the internet, you'll find this guy. And this is a bit. So a bracing bit. It's got the little angular thing on there, but you can also put regular round drill bits in this thing and it'll work.
Cool.
So that's pretty handy if you're wanting to make wood dowels to fasten poles together. I'm not saying that it is not a handy tool, but it's not the most essential tool that I would keep in my grab it and go type of a situation. More for me, it's how you cut wood is probably more important than how you fasten it together, because you can take twine and different things. 550 cord is what I like to keep in my go bag, and a little bit of wire. Maybe wire's heavier than cordage. So the second thing that I would consider putting in my bag is one of these little saws. This is I think it's made by Corona, I think. Corona, yeah. Corona. And I just got this down here at the local store. And what this is, and by the way, don't ever get something like this or a knife that doesn't have a locking blade on it. Because if you do get something that doesn't have a locking blade, make sure that you put a first aid kit in your repertoire of things, because inevitably, if that's not locked, you can come up on yourself and cut your little fingers or arm or whatever off.
You want to try to keep your digits.
So the way these things work is when you're drawing, that's when it cuts. And it takes a lot less energy to draw because you're putting more of your weight into pulling back on it if you're cutting off a limb or something like that off a tree than it does to push. So having one of these, the longer the better. This one here, I just took out of my my go bag. I just have this folded up and resting in the bottom of my go bag. It's light, it's durable. Fiskars also make these things. And they do make them longer. The longer, the better. So the less energy, the less strokes that you have to fool with when you're cutting firewood or you're cutting limbs and such.
I was laughing at Jesus, and I'm usually saying something like that hand spin drilly thing. That sounds like me. That's kind of like the
I would
thing,
know
you know?
I would know what you're talking
Hand
about if you
spinning
said that.
drilly thingy.
It's all about communication, right? That's all that matters. Do we know what each other's talking about?
Did you know what I meant? Okay.
Yeah. So the other type of bit that will go on a brazen bit is one of these adjustable type bits that I'm turning with my right hand, or the lower
The
bit.
bottom hand.
You can adjust this for different width holes. I got all these old tools from a guy. His dad had just passed away, and he got all this stuff from his grandfather. And so I thought it was kind of cool to kind of rummage through this stuff and say, hey, this might come in handy. One more important thing I'm going to tell you is, if you have something like this, axes, chisels, any of that kind of stuff, you really ought to consider getting things that you can sharpen them with and actually know how to sharpen them. There's a lot of people out there that don't know how to sharpen bits and chisels in specific.
You have a video you did several years ago on sharpening what was it?
Machete?
See?
Yeah.
See? He knew what I meant.
And if a machete's not a bad tool to have either. I just have a few files here. This one here is a triangular file. See, that's a triangular file, and you use that for filing small items like a crosscut saw, and that's another thing you might consider getting. Different size files. This particular bit right here, somebody has filed on the outside of this piece right here. They should get a spanking and sent to bed without supper for doing that.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't Heidi. But the way you sharpen this guy, so right in here, there's a flat spot right in there. And you want to keep the same angle as the manufacturer had built that. Of course, you can adjust this. You can adjust this out and get more room in there. But you're going to want to go with the same angle. You don't want to file on the bottom. You want to file where they surfaced it when they originally made this thing. These are kind of neat because you can have one tool fits all kind of situation, as opposed to the deeper augers. Like if you're wanting to make wooden dowels to fasten two logs together. I want to back up. This is number 0. This is the absolute. If you don't have one of these, you're wrong. This little guy here has a pair of pliers, wire cutters,
Leatherman,
screwdrivers, the Leatherman Wave. And again, you get what you pay for when it comes to these tools, this particular type of tools. They make cheaper ones, but they're not going to last you. It's got a little pair of scissors on it, and all of these are locking tools. They all lock, but this is a little pair of scissors. They do come in handy, those scissors. This is a finite screwdriver. That's a Phillips, and that's a fine regular or flat tip screwdriver for delicate work.
or fixing your glasses.
For fixing your glasses so you can see what you're doing. Now I can't see to put this back in that little tiny hole. There we go. This obviously has a good quality knife on it. It has a file. And
I keep a skeletal in my purse. It's a Leatherman, but I like that one because it's a little lighter weight and it has everything I need on it.
Well, what I like about this one here, it has this little saw. That little saw is really aggressive and sharp. I've used that I try not to use it just to keep it sharp. I try not to use it unless I have absolutely nothing, but that's come in handy several times. So this is actually the first tool that you should probably consider
Investing in.
getting. Yeah, and of course it comes with a little
Case.
lanyard or not yet case, and you can put that on your belt. I keep it in my side pocket. Going down the list of importance, obviously if you have a hammer, I didn't mention a hammer because
everybody should have a hammer.
Well, if you've got this, you don't necessarily need a hammer. And you're not going to be dealing with nails, so you don't really have to necessarily have to pull nails or something like that. But anyway, you could get a crosscut saw. There's a difference between going against the grain and going with the grain. This goes perpendicular to the grain, so this is called a crosscut saw. It has smaller teeth on it and a smaller kerf. So you have the width of the blade, and if I turn this around, the teeth are actually going to be wider, a little bit wider than the saw itself.
Oh.
And so what that allows you to do is that allows you to cut into the wood, and the wood will have a tendency to swell and it'll kind of try to bind on you. So if you have your teeth are a little bit wider than the saw itself, and so that's what you'd call set in the saw. The set will give you the width of the kerf that you actually make when you're actually making a saw cut. So it's important to be able to set the saw and actually be able to sharpen the saw and know how to do that too. Because there's nothing worse than the more dull the saw is, the more dull your tool is, the more work it is for you. And you want to reduce calories, reduce fatigue when you're using hand tools.
Or make sure you have a whole bunch of carbs on hand, like those grains, the honey.
Here's the question of the day.
Ooh, question of the day.
Does anybody know what this is? A little handle on it.
The question of the day.
Camera.
Hole punch, somebody said.
Wrong.
Sorry.
That was a good guess.
It was a good guess. It does look like a hole punch.
I would think it looks like a hole punch. I mean, remember in high school? And yeah.
I got some hole punches.
Here's the back side of it, if I can get it in the camera.
Somebody else said clamp and nutcracker. A tooth extractor.
It's got a little pin that runs up in there.
Tool?
Who said set tool?
Carolyn Smith.
She gets the gold star.
Gold star for Carolyn. Gold star for Carolyn.
Yes, it's called a tooth setter, and that is used for your saw. So you can, when you sharpen the teeth on the saw, you actually reduce the set in it just a little bit. And so you need to go through and reset these teeth to where they're out just a little bit more. So again, this is a crosscut saw. I don't have a rip saw, which cuts with the grain. So like if you're cutting lengthwise on a log or something like that, you're trying to flatten the side. You're trying to flatten the side on a log. Then you'd use a crosscut saw or not a rip saw instead of a crosscut saw. Yeah.
Interesting.
So the teeth are going to be bigger on a rip saw.
Yeah, see, I'm learning something new too. I'm glad I invited him in here to show us this stuff.
I'm trying to teach her so she can.
So the person that said tooth extractor was close, but not the right tooth. You look like a scary dentist.
Another handy thing to have is a chisel.
Tammy.
Are we having?
Tammy says,
"Are we having disobedient
I'm still going
people?
to offer my free dental services during the apocalypse."
Hey, you guys
are so fun.
Everybody's got to have a skill, you know. Here are a couple of chisels. Now, this is one of the old chisels that I got in that box of goodies. And I went ahead and shined this up and sharpened it for a little bit of, I wanted to talk a little bit about chisels. And if there's any guys in there, okay, everybody, when it comes to sharpening tools, you can have like 50 people tell you how to sharpen tools, and it'll all be the right way. And everybody else's way is like, hmm. So I'm one of those guys. But I want to let you know that when I get done with something, it usually works pretty good. So if it works, stick with it. This old chisel here, I feel very sorry for it. Another way to get a good spanking, even just touch the back side of this thing with a file. Don't do it. Don't ever do that, in my opinion. What happens is you'll have a tendency to round this off on the backside. You want this perfectly square and flat with the backside of your chisel. This chisel, somebody has filed down the sides of it, or on the backside here.
Oh.
Not a good idea, because what happens when you file this down to this point, that's going to put a round edge right on the tip here. You want that to be nice and square and sharp. So you can make good, nice, square, sharp corners in, when you're doing a Morrison tenon or something. See how that's beveled right there? In order to make this chisel right again, I have to take about maybe a 1/16 of an inch of this off and surface it clear back to the shank on this thing. You see how somebody's rounded that off? I don't know why they did that, but yeah, in my opinion, don't do that. The only place you ever touch a file is on this face right here. And you want to keep this nice and square. I mean, I didn't do this with a file. I did this with a grinder, a 6-inch grinder. Here I'm out of the picture again. And so you can see I left this little piece, this little ribbon. And you see that little ribbon on the top of that edge right there? A little bit of metal right there. That means it's sharp. You can see that ribbon. When you get to that point, stop filing. You focus on the square and then the flat face right here. See how that's shiny and flat clear across there? That's what you're looking for when you go to file. See that little ribbon right there? That is just barely on there, and that's where you want to be. Here's a piece of it that just came flaked off here. See that up there? Now that's really sharp on the end. Anyway, just some tools that you may consider putting in your grid down power out situation. I mean, there are more tools than that, but I mean, if I had to keep a priority, I'd say one of these first.
Your Leatherman.
One of these second, and believe it or not,
Little hatchet.
third. And if you can muscle the area, you can get a lot more done with a longer handled axe, cutting firewood and stuff. And then the rest is just whatever you think is important. I do have a draw knife here. If you're thinking more long term, like skinning logs and stuff like this, I thought this was kind of neat. This is in that box, and this is a really old draw knife that needs a lot of love.
Is that for like debarking or whatever?
Yeah, you can take bark, or you can shape a log with it. You can flatten the top with it, and it's called a draw knife because you're drawing it towards you. But
see, I don't know all this stuff. That's why I have him.
Well, I'm teaching you, so I can just retire.
No, I need you to stick around so you can deal with all this stuff.
All that stuff.
No, I don't mind learning this stuff because you just never know, and that's something to think about too. Is that if you have a spouse and they're doing all that stuff. Like, I don't know how Mr. Ryan's going to make vinegar and wine when I'm, if I go before he does. But
You have to go
he's got
without,
to
I
figure it
guess.
out. But I mean, yeah, we got to think if we're dependent on somebody else that we live with to do certain things for us, it's a good idea to at least have a little bit of know-how
Right.
or the ability to learn it, have books or whatever on hand so you can take care of this stuff in the event that they're not there to do it. Yeah, so I think that's it for today, and I really hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you so much again to my moderators. Thank you for everyone who came in here and your input and just, and the fun and all of it, and just showing your love and support for us. We really, really appreciate it, and hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for dropping in. Take care, and God bless.